everyone. Welcome or welcome back to Champions Families. Today, we're going to continue our conversation on what are things that you should be doing after you just found out that your child has been diagnosed with autism. I'm joined by Craig Johnson, Samantha Johnson, and Redonda Roten. Ms. Redonda, start us off today.
A lot of times when we are in a situation where we hear something shocking or overwhelming, what we want to tend to do is to isolate, which basically is not the way to go because we actually need to to help each other. We need to develop a support system because these things coming at us, we can't just pack them down because they will come back up at some point and not in a healthy way. So, what I encourage people to do is to sit down with somebody that you know you can trust, somebody that is godly and has wisdom. It can be a counselor, it can be a pastor, it can be a friend, and process your emotions with them. Being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. Being vulnerable is actually very, very courageous because it's important that we hear ourselves say what we feel. And a lot of times, what happens there is that when we hear ourselves say it, it takes a little bit of the sting away. It makes it not so big in our minds. Where if we never talk about it, if we never, process it, then we keep this big old, idea, huge idea in our minds. So it's really important that we not only feel our emotions, but we talk about them so we can be on the path to healing from our emotions.
Yeah, Sam, Rodonna said something really powerful. She said, process it. And, I think with Connor, when we got that diagnosis, that was such a big part of what we had to do to not be afraid of the process, and how we process things. Just give us a few thoughts on that.
I remember it's important to allow yourself to still grieve when you receive a diagnosis like this. I tend to be a very positive, person anyway, but you still have to go through the emotions. And I remember thinking, I feel like somebody died almost. And it's like, my son didn't die. Why am I still feeling this way? And it was actually what you're grieving is what you thought your child was going to be or what you thought your life was going to be like. And so that is a change that you didn't ask for. It's a change that you didn't plan on. So you still have to go through all of those emotions. There is going to be anger. There is going to be sadness. You're going to feel all of them. It's just important to not get stuck on any one of those, the grieving wheel. You got to go through all of them. Don't skip past one to get to the other. And don't say it's been long enough. I've just got to get on and forget about it. You have to take a day at a time and you have to let your body and your mind go through that process. You may have to go through it again with a spouse or with other kids or with family members, but it is important to give yourself that time to heal and to process and to not just bury it and not deal with it.
Yeah, and Rodonna said a key thing: don't do it alone. Get help right away. I think that's a huge thing that we try to do. In the beginning, we kind of isolated ourselves, and man, it got a little dark. It got dark quick. But one of the things that I learned in this process is I can't handle the future at this point. Like, it was too overwhelming. What's my future for my son going to be like? What if something happens to us? How are we going to help him? What are we going to do? And I just had to come to this point where I just said, man, God, how do you handle this? And it was just so real when I just felt like, man, Craig, you don't have grace for the future. And you can't worry about the past. You only got grace for today. And you just got to make today the very best that you can. And then I start to look at that and go, wow, I can handle a day. I can handle a day. I can't handle what's happened, when my son started to change, when he started to shift, the child that I knew, and now he's different. I can't handle that. That's gonna screw up and screw with my mind. I can't handle that. And if I get in the future, I may lose my mind. Really, if I just stayed there, right? All the questions, all the whys, all the what ifs. But if I just focus on today and make this day the very best I can handle that. And so I want to encourage you. You don't have grace for 10 years from now, 2 years from now, 2 weeks from now. You've got grace for a day. So make today the very best you can. Start today. Breathe. Take a step today. And get the help around you and the support around you need. And take that next step and take that next step. And you'll be surprised at how the journey will go.
I love that. Thank you all so much for your wisdom and for your input. I feel like it really helps when we get to learn from people who've walked through this journey. So yes, let's all just breathe, realize we only have to figure out today. All you have to do is worry about today. Everything else will come later. And guess what? If today bombs in some way, tomorrow you have a whole new chance. So I hope this encourages you to make today as awesome as it possibly can be. Subscribe if you want to check out our other videos, and we hope to see you soon again.